Right, welcome back to Fordy Runs. This is week 10 of London Marathon training. This is my weekly running vlog. If you're new around here, we are doing a series as I lead up to the London Marathon. I say we've got, 7 weeks now remaining. So what's that, 4 long runs? This week, I spoke about last week, is going to be a funny one because basically we've got the big half on Sunday. So I'm not going to do a long run on Saturday like I normally do. I'm going to be doing the big half. It's kind of a down week for me, despite having illness the week before. I stuck to my plan, and this is a down week for me. So my long run's going to be on a Sunday. Saturday, I'm secret location filming something that's going to be awesome. We're going to be on the channel soon. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I've done 2 runs this week, just nice, easy, couple of 6Ks. But what I thought would be a cool thing to do was to share with you a Facebook Live session we did within the community probably like a week ago now. And it's all on nutrition. So we've got Chrissie Stephenson on the channel. She's a running coach. And basically we opened it up to the guys in the community to ask questions about nutrition. So what to eat before, during and after your run. It's quite a long video. We don't like to put too many longer videos on the channel because basically people got no interest in watching after 5 minutes. But I definitely would recommend watching this video, especially if you're sort of worrying about nutrition and what you should and shouldn't be eating, that kind of stuff. It really is a good watch. You don't have to watch it all at once, but I really recommend that you watch the whole thing because you've got guys in there asking questions like me and you, everyday runners, asking the sort of questions that we all want to know the answers to. So check it out. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to go and get myself ready for the weekend. Normal service will be resumed next week, and I'll catch you guys later.
Hello, I'm Chrissie, for any of you who haven't met me before. I've got no idea if this is working, so do comment if you can hear me, see me. Hey Billy, hey Austin, can you guys hear me? Can you just do a thumbs up or something? Cool, all right, Chris, you're saying hi back. So wanted to first say huge thanks to Chris for asking us to come in. I think this group is amazing. It's brilliant. Everything that Chris does, he's built an amazing community. So hats off to you, Chris. And then I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of background as to who I am, what I do. So I'll start off a little bit with my little journey into the world of running. So I'm sure some of you can identify. Hi Nadine, hi Darren, identify with it. I didn't start until later in life, until I was about, I think it was 27, 28. And I got told very vehemently that I couldn't run. I've got an organ that doesn't work. And I got told that there was no point in entering the races that I'd entered. Someone actually offered to pay me my entry fee for one of the races I'd entered. And I decided, well, speaking to all the medical doctors who were saying, don't do this, no one could give me a reason why not. And just apart from that I couldn't. And so I thought, well, I'll just start trying. And so I started trying bit by bit by bit. And it turned out that I could do it. And I went into the world of Ironman and started racing them. And so it was ever so dangerous getting okay, because then you surround yourself with very good people. And I became quite fastidious in learning how to train, mindset, your body, your nutrition, and then ended up, I think fair to say, I got quite good. And jump forward 7 years, I decided that I wanted to coach and help other people do the same. And so then left my world in corporate and went in to get qualified to coach. And one of the things I did was qualify in nutrition. And there's a whole load of other messiness stuff to my story, but I won't go into that today. But what I wanted to cover with you guys is a bit on how to fuel your running, and also ask any questions. If you've got something that you don't get, you don't know, if you can tag me in the comments, and then if I haven't answered them, I'll certainly get back and reply after we finish the session today. Okay, so nutrition for running. What distances are you guys all running? I'm not sure. Like, I know what all my gang are, but drop in the comments what distances you guys are sort of looking at or got ambitions of doing, and let me know how it's going. So with nutrition, every piece of food, okay, contains macro and micronutrients, okay, 2 blocks. And it's your macronutrients that give you your energy for your running, okay? And you've got 3 macronutrients, that's it, okay? There aren't any others in the world, okay? And those macronutrients are protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And that's what gives you energy. Like as I'm moving my hands, I'm burning energy, okay? It's my macronutrients that are enabling me to have the energy to move my hands. Then also foods contain micronutrients, which are all your vitamins and minerals. But I'm not going to go into those today because what I'm going to be covering more is your energy to help you run. Your micronutrients are very important. If you want more help with those, give us a shout. So macronutrients, I'm going to start at the end, which may sound a bit weird, but it's, hey Chris, the reason I'm starting at the end is because it's simpler. So when you go out exercising, you break your muscles ever so tiny bit. They tear, so it's almost like your muscles like that, and they start tearing apart when you use them. And in order for them to bind back together, the only macronutrient that enables that is protein, okay? Carbohydrates and fats will give the energy to enable it, but it is protein that helps that recovery process in your muscles. And so that's why there's a lot of focus on people having protein after they do exercise. So that's where all the protein shakes came in. And in an ideal world, you want to be having protein 20 minutes after you finish exercise, because then that just enables that recovery process to happen that bit quicker. You will survive. Your body will repair if you leave it longer. It's just that it will speed up the process if you have it there and then. Within about 20 minutes is the rough rule of thumb. Okay, so that's the important thing with protein. Okay, it's at the end of your run. So protein sources, like some of my runners will take peanut butter sandwiches with them. Some of them will take egg sandwiches. So it's the egg, the protein, the peanut butter, things like chicken, really good protein sources. And I'm a bit anti-processed things, but of course then there are all the recovery shakes as well. Okay, so let's go back to your actual running. Now, whilst you're out running, you'll utilize fats and carbohydrates to fuel your run, okay? Now, in your body, your carbohydrate stores are relatively limited, okay? And the thing is, it's a lot easier for your body to transfer carbohydrate into energy than it is to transfer fat into energy. The way the process of breaking down fats is a lot more complicated. So your body will naturally go to carbohydrates first and then go into the fats. We're very, very clever. Like whoever designed us is a genius. Make life easy. So it goes into carbohydrates first and then goes into fats. And what you'll find, the degree of whether it's fats or carbohydrates will depend on the intensity of your exercise and your fitness. Okay, now I know some of you guys in here, hey Austin, that I recognise are doing marathon training, and so part of your marathon training will have enabled you to build up your endurance, and over your journey, as you get closer and closer to doing marathon, your body will start to learn to utilise fats more than carbohydrates. Now, before I go any further on that, what I need you guys to know is that it does not matter if it's fats, carbohydrates, or protein. If you overeat any of those three relative to your weight, you will relative to what you're burning off, you will put on weight, okay? If you undereat those three combined, you will lose weight, okay? It is not a matter of you shouldn't eat carbs, you shouldn't eat protein, you shouldn't eat fats, okay? All three are essential. Cut out the shit, cut out the junk food, but don't worry about any of this no carb stuff. that's not going to help you lose weight. Total calorie content and the amount of exercise you're doing is what will drive a weight change. Okay, so back onto the carbs and fats. So when your carb requirements, how do you know what to have and when it's going wrong? So it, as I mentioned before, it will change over time with your fitness levels. But one very useful way that I use and all my runners tend to use is when you're out running, if you start to feel very drained, okay, and like you haven't got energy in your legs, one thing I do is do very, very simple maths, okay? So start counting, or start doing like 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, 3 + 3 = 6, stuff that you know instinctively you should be able to do. And if you're struggling to do that, it's a good sign that your blood sugars are going low, okay? Too low to be healthy. So there's a band where your blood sugars are healthy, okay? And it's your carbohydrates that push them up, and exercise and insulin drop them down, okay? So there's this lovely little band where you sit in a healthy, happy zone, okay? And when you start to drop too low, what's happening is your body hasn't got enough energy. And what it's doing is, again, very intelligent. Maths isn't critical for your life. Your heart and lungs are critical. So what it does is it takes the energy to your vital organs away from your less vital ones, like the muscles in your legs, like the ability for your brain to count and do maths, okay? So it's a fairly easy way to get the trigger on, okay, right, I need to get some carbohydrate in me. If you start getting very doolally and want to curl up on the side of a road, you're becoming what we call hypoglycemic, where they've become dangerously low. And in that case, gels are very good because they are like rocket fuel. But other good source of carbohydrate, bananas. I like running with bananas because you can just take a bite. They're easy to carry. And then keep topping up every 20 minutes or so. I'm just going to switch down and see if I can see comments. Blah, 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 blah. Lots of marathon runners in here, half marathoners. Hi guys. And right, and I've just seen your comment, Chris, on gels. So yeah, I'm quite anti-gels because there's this band of your blood sugars that they're quite happy in. When you have a gel, it will skyrocket your blood sugar up there. Okay, this particularly for things like endurance sports like marathons. The gel acts super quickly. When you're doing a marathon, your energy levels will drop very, very steadily. Now your body, I'm trying to look at how this translates under the screen. So your body knows that that's healthy. If you've had something that spikes your blood sugar all the way up there, your body will release a ton of insulin to bring you back down to healthy level. Your body doesn't know at that point that you're going to be running another 20 miles or whatever it is. And so you've already you've released a ton of insulin to counter that huge spike. And so there's a greater chance of you dropping down into an unhealthy zone. Does that make sense? And all those shocks to your body, particularly when you're doing endurance, you're going at a steady pace. So having a fuel that releases steadily is going to be far kinder to your energy requirements. You want to try and match what your body's burning to what you're consuming. So as I said, I'm a big fan of bananas. If dried fruit as well, whilst it's very sugary, you can have it in a smaller quantity. It's very hard to have a quarter of a gel. Like, what do you do with the remainder? I've actually tried that in the past and ended up with like gooky hands, and then squidged the rest of the gel when I needed it later on. So things like dried fruit, a lot of my guys make up their own bars, so mixing them with nuts, dates, put in dates, nuts, seeds, that kind of thing. Loads and loads of recipes online, that sort of thing. I do appreciate some people like gels. If gels work for you, carry on. And then Chris, I've seen yours. So yeah, I'm really sorry, comments are coming in and I'm half looking at those and half carrying on. So in terms of your endurance runs, it will change whilst you're out. The other thing to be wary of whilst you're out running is that you sweat. And when you sweat, you'll be sweating off your electrolytes, okay? And that's when you might start cramping, okay? And so also, that's another reason for some of these processed things are quite good, because they've got the electrolytes built in. But the electrolytes are your sodium and your potassium. Banana's quite a good source of potassium. So again, particularly if you're going to go and run in heat, obviously we've had a nice little bit recently, just watch out if you're starting to cramp. That's a sign that you need to top up your electrolytes whilst you're out running, okay? Now, Chris, I'll go into the breakfast question in a minute. Yeah, the other way to know if you haven't got your carbohydrates right is when you finish running, okay? So talk about the blood sugar band again. So say you've maintained that quite nicely all the way through. When you finish a run, your body's going to be burning energy at a much higher rate. It sort of peaks it depends on what you've done, but it will certainly peak for the next hour. And then it will just slowly start coming back down to normal levels whilst your body's repairing and recovering. Okay, so when you stop a run, your body doesn't just go, okay, back to normal now. Like your heart rate takes time to settle, but all this rebuild, your muscles going on as well. And so often after running, you want carbohydrate as well as the protein to fuel the energy required for your body to rebuild. Yeah. So I'm just flicking down through these, and I've just seen Becky's comments on sweating. Her question is, do you still eat as many electrolytes if you're not a big sweater? Sweating is it's person to person. It doesn't, and it is with so many things with nutrition. The best way to get your nutrition right is to do everything in a very structured manner. So try eating certain things at certain times before you run, during your run, after you run, okay? Now, a way to find out that you haven't got your post-run food right in terms of the amount of carbohydrate is actually, I'll go back to during your run. If you are absolutely famished afterwards and you feel like you could eat 20 bowls of pasta and 10 tons of ice cream, enjoy it. But it's probably a sign that your blood sugars have gone low. Okay, that's another sign that they've gone low. So probably you don't need to top up your food a lot, but try topping up your food on your next long run and see if that helps. Then add a little bit more in, see if that helps. A way to tell that you're not getting the right carbs in afterwards, I said about the refueling process, is notice your moods. If you're unexplainably ratty, if you're a bit moodier than normal, exhausted, more than likely that your blood sugars are a bit low and you haven't got enough fuel in your system to fuel yourself after your run, okay? Right, so I'm going to go back a step in terms of, so we've roughly done run strategy whilst you're out running. So then we go to, before that, what you should eat for breakfast and the night before, okay? So everything that affects your run and your energy levels will be affected by what you've eaten before and what you've eaten the night before. There is no need to do a mass carb load beforehand, but you do want carbohydrates in your system. One of the most important things before you do a race or a long run is that you can sleep the night before. And if you're not used to having carbohydrates in your dinner and you put a ton in your dinner, you're probably not going to sleep very well, okay? But you do want to be having carbohydrates during the day before, but don't go silly on it. Like, your body has a limit as to how much it can contain. Just make sure there's some in your system. In terms of the morning before you run, this is 100% down to routine. Okay, I've got some of my guys don't eat at all, and some of my guys eat. But it's one of the key parts of your training is trying to not only have the breakfast that you plan to have on, I'm saying marathon day, but if it's half marathon day, 10K day, whatever your event is, trying to get as regular as possible in what you're eating, particularly the carbohydrates, paying attention to what you're having in carbohydrates, whether it's none or porridge or a quantity, okay? It's having the same thing. It's not only having the same thing, it's having the same gap between when you eat and when you go out, okay? Because your body will start burning the food and digesting it, and you want to know. So say quite a few of my guys tend to eat 2 hours before they go out running. That seems to work for them, for their stomach to settle. But that's through tried practice. And you want to you're going to have race nerves no matter how many races you do. So it's one thing, it helps calm those, but also you've got something that works for your body and your body adapts to it, okay? So if you start doing fasted runs, your body will learn to adapt to running on a fasted state without the carbohydrate source coming in beforehand. And what will happen is as you go through time, your body will start to utilize your fat stores more than your carbohydrate stores, because you're teaching your body that the carb stores aren't there and easily accessible. Okay, so it starts to go more into the fat stores. Again, this isn't a weight loss strategy, but where it is useful for things like the marathon is that your fat stores are pretty unlimited. Okay, I can't remember. It takes like something like 8 weeks or a couple of months for you to burn through all the fats that we've got in your body, like even lean athletes. So what will happen is if you taught your body to utilize the fats, you're less likely to run out of fuel whilst you're out on a long distance run. Okay, and so when people hit the wall, what's happening is that they've utilized all their carbohydrate, and that little band that your blood sugars sit happily in, they've plummeted down there. Okay, they've gone too low, they're about to pass out. Can I say, if ever you see someone who's really struggling for energy, they look as though they're about to fall over, they look a bit drunk, give them a gel, get them sugar, and they might not want it because all logic's going, but that could bring them and pick them back up and out again. Don't try and run them along, try and give them food, okay? Running them along is going to make the problem worse. Anyway, a little bit of a side there. So going back down to breakfast, very, very personal choice, and don't try and match what anyone else is doing. You'll find foods that work for you, but it's an important part in just keeping it super, super routine. And also pay attention to what you've eaten the night before. Some of my guys talk about, I did everything perfectly with my food strategy, but my legs weren't working. And then they notice that they drank the night before, or that they had a really stodgy meal the night before, and that's still coming into effect on the following day. Okay, does that make sense, guys? I'm just scrolling down comments. So Sue, on your comment on, I tend to be too nervous to eat on race days. If that's the case for you, 2 choices. In your training, don't eat before you run, so that your body gets used to not eating before you run. And so then you can start utilizing the fat stores. Does that make sense? Or look to go into having drinks beforehand. As I said, I'm not a massive fan of processed foods, but if you could stomach, I don't know if you can stomach yogurty sorts of drinks, then you're getting some proteins in and some carbs in. But it's really try to match as much as possible what you're doing, what you're going to do on race day in your training. Okay, then you learn how your body adapts. And right, so Nadine, post Nadine and Nettie, is it? Just seeing your comments. Sorry, my comments aren't feeding through, so I'm scrolling back up trying to catch what you guys have written. Post-run nausea. Yeah, in all likelihood. Again, it's probably your blood sugars dropping too low. So again, your body doesn't need your stomach to process things to survive. Your heart and lungs are more vital. So what it does is it sends all energy there. And so it can make you feel really sick, which is not very handy, because the best thing in the world for you to do is to eat. Okay. Everybody is different, but as a general rule, it tends to be that the blood sugars are going too low. So if you are feeling quite sick, grab a can of Coke. It's full of sugar, absolutely crammed full of sugar. But it can be quite easy to consume Coca-Cola or lemonade or something like that when you're not feeling so bright. Otherwise, try and eat food, toast. But I try and go for something that's a little bit quicker release, like bananas, like dates, that sort of thing. I'm just going to scroll up and see if there's anything else that I've really missed. Seeing Jason's comment, "Our flapjack's good." Again, personal preference. I'm quite a fan of them. Some people struggle with the actual chewability of them. Whilst you're out running, you want to be able to take a bite and not have to stop, eat, swallow. So I prefer making things with lots of soft fruits, so that it sort of dissolves. You can take a bite and it sort of dissolves in your mouth. And if you swallow it, you're not going to choke on it. Okay. So let me just ping through. Interesting, this too. Now, Imodium, Chris, sorry, I've just seen that one flipping through. So this again is about your salt levels, and again, I hate to come back to this. If it's working for you, go for it. Go for it. So Imodium is a very good source of electrolytes, and so you've got limits as to how much your body wants and how much your body needs on all this stuff. And so if you're finding that you're not cramping, don't worry about taking Imodium. But if you're finding that once you're out, you're struggling with cramping, then Imodium may help. What all these electrolytes do is they also help with your hydration levels. So your body can't actually absorb water without these electrolytes in your system. Okay. So that's actually another cause of the nausea, can be dehydration. So if you're not drinking enough, that could be another source. So play with on the feeling nauseous thing, play with your carbohydrates and play with your water levels as to how much you're drinking. On water, okay, the way to know that you are being hydrated enough is get on the scales before you run, get on the scales after you run. If you have lost any weight, it is not the time to be celebrating. It's a case that you haven't drunk enough water. You've sweated out more than you've taken on, and that's then unhealthy. Okay, your body is reliant on a certain level of hydration. Okay, and that is a sign to you that you need to take more water on whilst you're running. Okay, but equally, you need the electrolytes for your body to absorb water as well. Okay, so you may be drinking enough water, but there are for those of you who carry water whilst you're out, there are tablets called Nun tablets, which carry all the electrolytes in them. So they're quite good to pop in your water. So right, I'm scrolling through. Sorry, finish it. Yes. So, any benefits to electrolyte drinks the day before? Not really. No, there's no need for it. Try and get all your nutrients from normal food. Your body processes things. There are some bits of food that take 48 hours for your body to absorb and properly process. But again, the processing happens most quickly after you've eaten it. Your body will react and respond to what you've just eaten, and then decide, do I want to use it? Do I want to store it? Or do I want to get rid of it? Yeah. And it can take up to 48 hours for that to happen, but no need to have electrolytes the day before. Cool. Now, let me just see if there was anything else I wanted to particularly mention to you guys. No, have any of you got any other questions? I think I've caught, give me a shout in the comments if you've already put a question in that I haven't seen. I've tried to scroll through them, but I might have missed something. Yeah, I've just seen Billy's comment about caffeine. I like caffeine, and I'm a bit of a coffee addict, and because of that, I will tend to, when I used to race, I would have a coffee before race. It was something that more psychologically, I used to enjoy it. I used to enjoy the coffee. It was part of my morning routine and settle my nerves, in terms of your body, what it is particularly useful if you're a sprinter. It is less useful if you're a marathon runner. What it will do is caffeine spikes your body up. And so, yes, it will spike your body up, but you as a marathon runner are not going out explosively. If you do, you're going in for a hard marathon. You want to be pretty steady in your pacing. And so you want your heart rate to not go into a shock state. So again, if it's part of your routine, part of your habit, keep going. It will increase your heart rate, which some people are proponents of. They're like, it kickstarts your system. The thing is, if you kickstart your system and then do nothing, your body will release all the chemicals to bring your system back again. So you're doing a bit of a yo-yo and sending your body into a bit of confusion. And also, you are not trying to kickstart a sprint. Yeah, you're going off steady. Okay, so just be a little bit kinder to your body. Little diversion on, just seeing some comments come in. The cramps after your run is most likely down to the electrolytes. Jason, best food to eat the night before. Stick with what you know you're comfy with. Okay, if your body digests certain types of food well, like I don't eat a very rich diet. I don't put lots of stuff on my food. So if I was to eat, I would eat a fairly standard meal the night before a race. Okay, I'm a fan of carbohydrates, but I'm a fan of everything that's unprocessed. So carbohydrates in terms of potatoes, all natural foods. I think your body can process them that much better than it can anything that's that bit more processed. Just seen another comment. Okay, Venetia. I've seen Chris's comment on. Okay, so top tip is, if you're not sure about your food, make a note of, after you finished a run, scribble a note on the number you would give your energy levels while you were out. Okay, and make a really quick scribble on what you ate before and what you ate during. Okay, because I guarantee a week later you will slightly forget it. Okay, and then if you want to change something, change it, and then scribble out of 10 how your energy is feeling. Also scribble what you were like before you go to bed, out of 10 on energy. Okay, and if your girls, our time of the month will affect it. Okay, that's a big other topic. But if you're finding your energy levels aren't where where you're happy with them, it could be that your nutrition just needs tweaks. Okay, when you change your nutrition, don't make big jumps. Okay, just small little changes each time. Get into a routine. Routine is the key thing. Okay, right. I think that may be all. If there are, oh no, I've seen some other pop in. Blah blah blah. Emoji instance, do they actually work? Don't know. It will depend on your body. That is 100% on how your body processes things. And again, do not try anything new on race day. Stick to, particularly those of you doing marathons, you are going to be well practiced in these long runs before your marathon comes along. Get in the routine of what you are going to do on marathon day. Okay, practice it now. Practice what it feels like to run out of energy, because you can. Okay, it's not the end of the world. Whereas you don't want to be there on marathon day, not sure how you're going to fuel, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Don't overcomplicate this stuff. Okay, take food in regularly whilst you're out, particularly on the big runs. If you're running for under an hour, you don't really need food. If you're already at a running level, if you're new to running, you'll need food. But I think most of you guys are already fairly seasoned runners. Okay, and Jason, better to eat base meal 5. So Jason's asking, is it best to have your last meal at 5 on the day before? Again, it would depend on when your body processes food. If you are happy eating later, if you're used to eating later, there's no reason not to eat later. I tend to be a fan of eating earlier, so it gives you a chance for body to digest. Otherwise, you're then going to bed with your body digesting things. There's going to be an awful lot going on race day anyway, so your digestion is going to be out of kilter a bit. But if you've learnt that you can sleep well off having eaten at 8 in the evening, then stick to 8 in the evening. Real personal choice. Okay, it's not, there are some hard and fast rules, but a lot of it will come down to personal preference, what your normal diet is, how you handle stress. All your hormones will go bananas before a race, and that will affect everything quite carefully. So audience, I've got another comment fit through. Cool. Right. If any of you've got anything else, please tag my name in the comments. And if anything pops in your head afterwards, do just get in touch. So I focus on helping runners online, mostly who are doing half marathons and marathons. Locally, I've got the most amazing walk to run groups. And so if any of you guys want some help with your running, give me a shout, we'll jump on the phone and see if I can help you. And so far, all of my guys have got PBs, which is very cool. It's a very, very nice place to sit. Good luck with everyone who's doing marathons and half marathons. Enjoy it. It's a wonderful thing to do. I'll pop in the comments my social links if any of you want to follow me there. Yeah, enjoy it, gang. And thanks to Chris. I think this group's brilliant. Hats off to you for everything you're organising this group. It's amazing. All right, take care, guys. Bye.